Reaching further back, the figures I'd glimpsed in grainy black and white footage and in the books I'd pored over as a child. Rosewall, Bueno, Gonzalez, Leyva. The afternoon's other matches were more in line with my expectations. Venus Williams swatted aside some hapless Belgian. Then came Greg Rosetsky versus Andy Roddick, the day's headline contest. Roddick was another young gun of whom much was expected. In America, he was viewed as heir to Pete Sampras and Andre Agassi. And he was certainly more immediately noticeable than Federer, with his whipper-crack serve and air of anxious bustle. But his match with Rosetsky, predictably ace-strewn, was boring. I found neither player remotely enticing. The one moment of real drama was a line dispute. On a key point in the third set, with Roddick serving, someone in the crowd yelled, "Out!" when one of the American shots landed near the baseline. Rosetsky, thinking the call genuine, stopped playing. The umpire had no option but to hand Roddick the point, but when he did this, Rosetsky's frustration, which had been building all afternoon — he was down 2 sets — unleashed itself in a lengthy foul-mouthed tirade. "I can't do anything if the crowd fucking calls it! Replay the point! Some wanker in the crowd changes the match, and you allow it to happen? Well done! Well done!" The crowd, I remember, mostly responded with jeers and whistles. The ex-Canadian Rosetsky may have been one of us, but it was clear that he would never replace Tim Henman in our affections. What I took away from the afternoon was the memory of Federer stooping low against the grass, spearing a backhand up the line, and of the contrast between the gentle-seeming lean of his serve and the percussive crack as the ball, once again, whipped into the back fence for an ace. Those images stayed with me, as over the following week and a half I monitored his progress through the tournament, telling anyone who would listen how good I thought he was. In Federer's career, Wimbledon 2003 was a hinge moment, the point when his promise finally came to fruition. With each match, his confidence billowed, as if he were discovering, for the first time, the full reach of his talents. In the 4th round, he beat the young American Mardy Fish in 4 sets. In the quarters, he saw off the gangly Dutch 8th seed Schenk Schalken in 3. And then, in the semi-finals, he raised his game to extravagant heights to crush the player who seemed most likely to impede his progress, Andy Roddick. I remember watching that match on TV. After a tight first set, which Federer won on a tiebreak after, again, saving a set point, Roddick was swept away in a torrent of balletic volleys and lancing ground strokes. I was amazed by the ease with which Federer neutralized Roddick's serve, whose up-close ferocity I'd observed for myself a week earlier. He always seemed to know where it was heading and parried it back seemingly with time to spare. His passing shots, too, were lethal. Countless times, Roddick sent the ball to the corner and headed for the net, only to be left stranded by the sort of whipped, short-angled ground stroke that became a Federer trademark. So comprehensively was Roddick outplayed that not for the last time in his career he was frequently made to look inept, foolish. 2 days later, Federer faced another big server, the towering Australian Mark Philippoussis, in the final. To no one's great surprise, he won in straight sets. Though I didn't watch the match, I must have had something else on, I remember taking a pleasure in Federer's victory that was, at least in part, egotistical. It proved that my initial reaction had been correct, that my man, my spot, really was something special. This self-congratulatory impulse, I now realize, was pretty absurd. It wasn't as if he was totally unheard of. Yet immediately after that tournament, my attention drifted away both from tennis and from Federer, and my life resumed its previous course. I went back to the world of editing, of journalism, of building a sense of myself as an adult. For what now strikes me as a strangely long time, roughly 3.5 years, I gave little thought to Federer at all. 2. While tennis didn't mean much to me in 2003, this hadn't always been the case. As a boy, I loved the sport with an all-consuming passion. Between the ages of about 5 and 11, it was, by some distance, the most important thing in my life. I first played it, or a version of it, in the south of France.